Okay, Richard Petrie with Dick Van Den Over back again for video number 2. This is the one where the rubber hits the road. Your accountants, your number one lead source is referrals, and you in the past, you may have been slightly neglecting your clients. I know you've done a wee Christmas function, you've sent them a wee gift, but it's probably really, when you consider how much money they generate for you in terms of referrals, it's probably a little bit minuscule. So what I'm going to show is how to put in place something called a remarkable client experience. It's really fun to do. As you'll see, a lot of the big, most successful companies in the world put this in place. And I say, if they do it, why can't an accounting firm do it? And I believe, watch the video and you make your own mind up, but I believe if you put something like this in place for your clients, you can double the number of referrals you get. And I know they're probably already your number one lead source, but imagine if you could double your referrals double the number of leads from your number one referral source. These are your unpaid sales force. So let's get into details, and we're going to go through exactly how to do it. I hope you enjoy this, and better still, I actually hope you implement it. Let's get down to business. It's business time. Right, if you remember in the last video, we talked about different referral strategies, and I actually gave you 3 good ones up the top there. And I talked about how in this video we're going to cover this thing called a remarkable client experience. Now, the first 3 are around incentivizing, giving an incentive for someone to pass on a referral. This one is more about inspiring them. This one is more about capturing people's imagination and creating raving fans. And this one's a lot more fun, actually. And you'll also remember in the last video we talked about how the fact that most people, and if you haven't watched the last video you really should do that, but we talked about how most people's clients when you're selling professional services comes from referrals or word of mouth. The source is usually about 80 compared to the marketing, which doesn't work so well if you're using traditional marketing, only 20%. But all the money was being spent on marketing to people we don't know, as opposed to putting some money back in to encourage the people we do know to continue to refer us and even up the ante. Because we said that for every one person that gets referred to us, there's probably 10 who could but aren't being referred to us. So we posed the idea of how about spending 50-50, 50% marketing to our existing clients and people who can increase our referrals, and maybe taking some budget away from traditional marketing. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is remarkable client experience and how to get inspired referrals. And this does work an absolute treat, and it's a lot of fun. Creates a lot of morale in the company because your clients are so happy. And as I said, if you get the referral strategy right, selling professional services, it could be the only strategy you need. So let's get into it. How can we generate an avalanche of referrals? I know someone says, let's provide a great service. Well, unfortunately, providing a great service and being the best at what you do doesn't necessarily make you money. And we discussed that in the last video from that book, Think and Grow Rich, around accurate thinking. It's pretty well known, being the best at what you do doesn't necessarily make you the most money. The problem is people don't see the brilliance of your core service. And let me give you an example. This guy is a guy called Joshua Bell. And he played the Washington, D.C. metro station on a cold January morning in 2007. He played 6 Bach pieces for about 45 minutes. And during that time, approximately 2,000 people went through the station, most of them on their way to work. After 3 minutes, a middle-aged man stopped and noticed a musician playing. He slowed his pace and stopped for a few seconds and then hurried to meet his schedule. After 4 minutes, the violinist received his first dollar. A woman threw $1 into the box and continued to walk. At 10 minutes was the next time when someone stopped, a 3-year-old boy, but his mother tugged him along hurriedly as the kid stopped to look at the violinist. Finally, his mother pushed him hard and the child continued to walk, turning his head all the time. This action was repeated by several other children, and every time the parent, without exception, forced them to move on. At 45 minutes of playing, the musician carried on playing, and only 6 people had stopped for a while. About 20 gave him money, but continued to walk at their normal pace. He collected, in 45 minutes, $32. At 1 hour, he finished playing, silence took over, no one noticed. No one applauded, nor was there any recognition. No one knew that This violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the best musicians in the world. He'd played one of the most intricate pieces ever written. The violin was worth $3.5 million. 2 days before, Joshua Bell had sold out the theatre in Boston where seats averaged $100. Now the bad news is, seeing Joshua Bell's brilliance is a lot easier than seeing yours. If people can't pick up the brilliance of what he's doing on a $3.5 million violin, playing one of the most intricate pieces of music ever written, they're probably not going to see your skill in what you're doing. They should. Your peers probably see it, your boss or your staff may see it, but your clients probably don't. They're not skilled enough to be able to perceive your brilliance. So what makes them think you're great and refer you to others like crazy if it's not your brilliance? Well, here's a big clue. People buy an emotion and justify with logic. Now this isn't based on psychology, this is based on biology. Now, I'm not going to go into this too deep. We're not here having a biology lesson, but there's 3 parts of the brain. There's the reptilian, which controls our heart function and breathing and temperature. We don't need to worry about that when it comes to selling professional services. There's the neocortex, which controls language and abstract thought and sort of like your conscious thinking from day to day. And then there's the limbic system, which is where we make decisions, where we make judgments, often unconsciously. And these judgments influence our behavior. Now, all we need to know is that the neocortex system is controlled by logic. That is how we access that part of the brain. This part of the brain is controlled by emotion. And that's what we need to know. People buy an emotion, justify with logic. And it's the same with your services. People refer based on how they feel about you more than the quality of your work. Like I say, it shouldn't be the case, but it is. Now, advertising knows this. Kevin Roberts, the head of Saatchi & Saatchi Worldwide, said research has it wrong. Instead of asking people what do you want, we should be asking how do you want to feel? Because that is the secret to persuasion, and that is the secret to getting people to make new decisions. Well, how does advertising pull this off? Well, let's have a quick look. Let's have a look at some very famous ads or advertising. What are they selling here? They're selling chocolate. They're selling joy. What's Coca-Cola sell? You often don't even see. If you look there, you can just see a bottle of someone drinking, but it's not the feature. They're not selling the Coke. They're selling happiness. Once again, emotion. Happiness. Open happiness. They're not saying open a bottle of brown sugary water. Open happiness. McDonald's. It's all based on emotions. It's not based on the chips and the burger. You don't even see the burger. Revlon. Charles Revlon said back in the 1800s, he says, in the factories we make cosmetics, in the stores we sell hope. They understood, and they're still around today, selling hope to women. But they understand what they're really selling. So people are buying on emotion and justifying with logic. Now, how can we put emotion into selling your service? You may be a little worried about that. It's probably not your forte. Well, let me show you. It's not as difficult as you may think. What determines how people feel when buying or referring professional services? 2 things. 1, symbols of your expert status. People want to know they've got someone who knows what they're doing. But it's not going to be based on the quality of the work you deliver. That's not how people judge it because they're in no position. They're not knowledgeable enough about your service to be able to do that. They have to do it by looking at symbols around you, and we're going to cover this in another video. And they determine whether they like you or not, or whether they're going to refer you on the experience they have with you, the experience. So remember, Joshua Bell, if he can't pull it off, then neither can you. So we've got to look at how do they perceive value. So the core service can only get you so far along the chain of delivering value in their perceived view. What's going to do it more is the experience of your service. Now, a remarkable experience will push out the perceived value a lot further than just a standard experience. Now just have a wee think here. There's logical and there's emotional. Which of those 2 things do you think is logical and which do you think is emotional? We test. If you said the core service was really the logical part and the emotional part is this bit, then you would probably be correct. So when was the last time you had a remarkable experience when you were buying something? When was the last time you had a remarkable experience at a restaurant? I mean a remarkable experience, something where you had to go away and remark about it to others. I would say not very often. I bet you could come up with a couple, but I think it would be the exception to the rule. Certainly is with me. When was the last time you had a remarkable experience dealing with someone selling professional services? Not many, if any, right? The benchmark is incredibly low. So let's have a look. Choreographing a remarkable client experience. Choreographing, an arrangement or a manipulation of actions leading up to an event. So basically a system. We're talking about choreographing a system to give an experience. Remarkable, notably or conspicuously unusual, extraordinary. Now there's a marketing guy, Seth Godin, who wrote a book, The Purple Cow. And The Purple Cow was about creating experiences for people that's so remarkable they have to remark about it to others. And he gave an example. You're driving along the motorway and everyone's sort of a bit dozy. You've been driving it for a while and there's cows and there's sheep in the field. And you come to one field and you look out in the field and all of a sudden you see some purple cows. And you pull over and you take photographs of these purple cows. And you rub them to see if it's just dye or it's a trick or what on earth is it? And you're all sitting there laughing to each other, looking at these purple cows, thinking it's amazing. Of course, you'll take photos. You'll then get in the car and you'll drive on to the next town. And what's the first thing you say when you get to the next town? Probably something like, what's the story with the purple cows back there? You know, is that real? How remarkable. And that's what happens. That's what goes on. If it's not something worthy of remarking about, then it's not viral and it doesn't get passed on. Now, we want to create some experiences which are so remarkable, people have to talk about it to others. So remarkable experiences require creativity and fun, not necessarily money. Now, a man, according to the Guinness Book of Records, as the greatest salesman in the world, all he used to do was send a postcard to his clients every month. A postcard to his clients every month. Now, there's nothing special about that, but coming from a car salesman, it is remarkable because, like I say, the benchmark is so low. And he's sold more cars than anyone else in the history of the world. Here's one here. Now, this is kind of remarkable. Look at the smiling on the faces. I'd be a little nervous. The people in the back seat are. Maybe they know something that the people in the front don't. But this would be remarkable if you were given this experience. Meat on the bonnet. Here comes the lion, and it eats the meat. But what you don't realise is there's a glass wall between you and the lion. And what's remarkable is there's been a jeep laid in with the glass going to protect you, and you can have your photo taken. Now that's remarkable. That's the type of thing you would take the photo. You would get a photo taken if you were sitting in the front seat and you would show your friends. You would remark about it to others. And yet all it's taken is a bit of creativity. So some key points. The benchmark's incredibly low for creating remarkable experiences. Don't just use a hygiene factor. If my real estate agent, we sold a house, my real estate agent didn't give us a bottle of champagne for a while. My wife was expecting it because it's like a hygiene factor when you sell a house, you get a bottle of champagne. He finally delivered a bottle of champagne and it was, she gave it a no thanks, but it was no big. No one gave the real estate agent any credit for giving a bottle of champagne because you just sort of expect it. What we've found is emotional experiences have no correlation to the cost or effort. So a personally handwritten thank you card will have more effort than you providing 1 hour's free work to someone for free. They will get more of a buzz from something like that. If it's unique and unexpected, it's going to work. If others are doing it, then it's not unexpected and it won't work so well. Some other key points. It's got to be so remarkable that clients must remark about it to others. So the benchmark I often use is the experience you're providing so good that they would talk about it at a dinner party and they would make other people at the dinner party think it was remarkable what you had done. That's the benchmark. Or if they told the story about how you provide services and the experience you provide to your clients, would that story be boring at a dinner party? If it's too boring and it doesn't meet the dinner party criteria, then think about what you can do to make it remarkable. Like I say, personal stuff seems better than professional. Additions to the core service don't get the same credit. Now, a good example, I had a client in Christchurch who said, we were going through this exercise and he said it really peeved him off because he was giving away this free service to a client. They'd do an extra 3 or 4 hours work for them and not bill them. And they'd tell them, we've done an extra 4 hours work for you, but we haven't billed you for it. And the response was, oh, thanks. And they were like, that's worth, $100 an hour, that's $400 sort of type value. And they just gone, thank you. He said, what really peeved me off is we have drinks every Friday night, and we invited them to drinks. They came around, drank 3 Heinekens, cost me about $15. And the next day he's sending me emails thanking me and calling me up and thanking me for having 3 drinks on a Friday night. He said, $15 versus the $400 we gave him, but you don't get the credit for the professional additions to the core service. You get the credit for the personal stuff. That's just the way it seems to work, because that is the stuff which is more emotional. You can piggyback off existing emotional effects. Why not send them a birthday card or a birthday gift? Why not send them a birthday gift? Think of how much you charge them. Is a book that you send them on their birthday worth $30? Is that really much of a cost to create a remarkable experience, stimulate them to talk about you to others, and refer you? Not really. Remember, remarkable experiences require creativity and fun, not necessarily money. If you get the strategy right, it could be the only strategy you need. Let me show you how this works. Now, here's some magic. I'm going to show you something and hopefully change your mind about marketing and about your clients in about 3 minutes. Okay, stand back. Now, let's think like a marketer. What's your client worth? You've got to think like a marketer, not an accountant. Right, average client's worth about $1,500. Let's just make that up, okay? Maybe more, maybe less, but let's say they're just worth $500 for the compliance work. Okay, let's say you find a way to eke an extra $500 out for advisory work, which is doable, right? That's doable. It should be if you're prompting them with enough suggestions. Right, if you've put in place a remarkable client experience, it's reasonable to expect that you should try and generate two referrals per year out of every client. Why not? If you do a brilliant job looking after them. Now, add that up. We're talking $5,000 per year. Now, how long do you keep them for? 10 years. That's $50,000 per client. If you're getting referrals, right? If you're providing a crummy service and you just send out your compliance bookwork and all that at the end of the year, and there's nothing flash, and then you're not going to get that. But imagine you had a remarkable client experience. That's $50,000 per year, right? So now you can afford to spend a few bucks creating a remarkable client experience. It's sort of chicken and egg. You've got to do that to get the $50,000 a year. You've got to do that to get the 2 referrals. But anyway, that's all right. That's the goal, right? So, remarkable. Let's have a look. I've just pulled a few ideas out of my head, right? What about, here's some remarkable experiences. Unexpected gift with your end-of-year reports. Rather than just send out a big package of, papers and stuff to the client, what about sticking something with it and saying, hey, thanks for being a client? Let's say you send them a book or something, or, I don't know, something with their end-of-year reports. So they look forward to receiving it rather than not, what about a movie night where you spend $30 per family? You might get, on average, per family, rent out the movie theatre. Monthly video. Now, this is a really good idea, right? So you do interviews or you get interviewed. And I'll cover this in the next upcoming video. But what if you put out a video of the month demonstrating your expertise? So you either get interviewed by someone or you interview someone of interest that can add value to the client. And the type of stuff which some of it will actually lead to advisory work. You drill in on a specific topic, and if they want more, then they should contact you and you'll help them out with something and then lead to advisory work. If you want to get more advisory work, start giving away some expertise free in a video, knowing that it'll trigger off other things. Right, what about a surprise bonus growth pack that costs $30 a client, but maybe you partner up with some marketers or someone else and put together some business growth information together and send it out to them as a surprise. Imagine that. What other accountant is doing, well, actually movie nights, BDO do that. BDO in Wellington do that. Good nights, very good. Simple. But who's sending a bonus growth pack? I don't know. What about this? A tree. You deliver a tree
Come on, it costs you $10. A rare tree, say, hey, you know, we're on a bit of a mission to save this native tree. It's under danger. Just like to send you one out, and hopefully you plant it in your garden and good for the nature, and you know, we thought you'd like it. Just a gift. It's kind of cool. What about the receptionists coming out? You know, when they come in for their yearly report, they come out with a favourite drink or something special, a couple of nice cookies, and make a fuss of them when they come to the reception area, rather than just he'll be with you in 10 minutes. Why not make them wait for 10 minutes and bring out some really nice stuff? $10. Now, look, total for the year, $140 per client, just on stuff I've pulled out of my head, right? $140 per client. Now, I know what you're thinking. $140 per client? Are you kidding me? What? That's a lot. I know what you're thinking. But remember, let's just go back. Let's remind ourselves. Average client, $1,500. Advisory work squeaked out, another $500. 2 referrals because you're doing it. 2 new clients per year because you're doing stuff no other accountant in New Zealand's doing. Right? You're actually putting on a bit of a song and dance for your clients. But you pick up 2 referrals a year, $3,000. 5K. That's $5K per year you're making per client from each client, or a $5K loss if you don't keep them. So we're talking $140. Now remember, 10 times, they stay for 10 years, $50K per client. $50K per client. Oh, what a good goal. What a good goal to get 2 referrals per year. Which means 2 referrals per year means $5K per year, $50K a client. Why not? Why can't you get 2 referrals per year from a client? Especially if you're prepared to actually treat them nicely or make a bit of a fuss and give them a remarkable client experience. And not only that, you're going to have very happy clients. So let's be honest. They can probably get a similar service down the road. Come on. They probably can. But they can't get the same experience down the road. For $140, you can deliver them something they will not get anywhere else. Okay? They will not feel as special with anyone else. They won't, because for $140 you can do a lot, especially if you use your creativity. Now, okay, you may say $140 is too much. Well, $70 then. Do $70 a client. You can still do some good stuff with that. So anyway, I hope, there's a form below, and basically you need to map it out for the year, what you're going to do, how much you're going to spend, all that type of stuff. But, you know, I think an accountant in New Zealand could absolutely, I don't know, kick butt, just get referrals, because they actually they actually thought about what's the experience of being with us, and they provided extra expertise in the form of videos, they provided unexpected gifts. You know what I'm talking about, okay? If any accountant picks this up and runs with it, they are going to kick some butt. Might as well be you. But anyway, hey, if you want to have a chat to me about this, you can get hold of me. There's deep contact details and stuff like that. But we are going to come up with specifically the videos. We're going to talk a bit more about that in future. The next video, I'm going to give you a video about how to use video. How cool is that? All right, see you soon.
Right, was that an exercise in common sense or what? Right, now nothing wrong with common sense, nothing wrong with that. So the key, implementation is the key. We've talked about remarkable client experience. That is something you can do. It's very fun to do. It can be a lot of fun because the feedback you get from your clients is awesome. And that's basically it. Okay, so remarkable client experience. Now, in video number 3, which is going to come at you in a couple of days' time, I'm going to show you a very specific type of remarkable experience you can provide using video. Okay, this is a really, really good one. Now, not only that, it positions you as an expert in your market. So it doesn't just make people feel good, it positions you as the guru in your market. So if you're looking for advisory work and getting, you're not going to get away from compliance work, but if you want to do more advisory work, and if you want something in a format which allows it to be very viral, then please watch the video in the next couple of days' time, because we're going to give you something very, very cool. We're going to step it out once again and make it easy for you to do. See you soon. Implement. Action.